Welcome back to another video, and we just came back from an amazing 2 days of SummerSlam, the first ever 2 day of SummerSlam, and yeah, it was a great show. What are your initial thoughts of SummerSlam?
Yeah, I think overall this show definitely delivered. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Looking forward to these upcoming weeks of Raw and SmackDown, but also what is going to be the future for Clash in Paris and multiple other shows down the line. But yeah, I think overall, what's a good success for SummerSlam being 2 nights. However, I do wish that the SummerSlam was still a one-night show, but kind of maybe condense this card a little bit more, or just go back to 7-card PLEs for WWE. But yeah, overall, pretty good show.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to kick it off with maybe one of the most exciting things that did happen on SummerSlam weekend, and that's going to be during the CM Punk defeating Gunther match, and he becomes the new World Heavyweight Championship after an amazing match. They brawl all over the place. It's about what you would expect to see when you see those two names on paper going against each other. A hard-hitting match, blood on their chest by the end of the match. But the big talking point of the match, obviously, is going to be Seth freaking Rollins coming in on the crutches, announcing that, I'm going to get you one day, and then he starts to walk away. He drops the crutches, turns around, and this amazing shot of him just taking off his shirt and running to the ring, doing the cash-in. And yeah, just an amazing, kind of expected, but still very good cash-in, and probably will be the most talked about moment coming out of here.
Yeah, I think the execution of the turn of Seth Rollins returning and then cashing in on CM Punk was absolutely played perfectly. But yeah, I love that we did see CM Punk hold the championship just for a few minutes. But yeah, that Gunther and Punk match was absolutely phenomenal. It was basically exactly what I wanted from a match like this, where it's just two guys who are very technically sound in the ring, and they went at it and they had a great match. Didn't really even leave the ring a lot during the match until that very end, where we seen Gunther finally get bloody on his face, and then yeah, that kind of played into the finish. I thought it was a really cool touch as well. But yeah, this entire ending to start off SummerSlam Night 1 was definitely a very good moment.
Yeah, they definitely crushed this match. Definitely one of the ones where I will be going back and watching in the future, because I do just want to see these guys beat the hell out of each other once again. But moving on to another big match coming out of this weekend, and that is going to be Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul defeating Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. Now, most of the time we see the celebrities get involved, we see them get hurt, or not literally hurt, but we see them kind of get taken out of the match, we see them lose, we see them maybe get big wins. But in this case, it was really a decent match. Like, he came in, he did what he had to do as a celebrity. Obviously, he's no Bad Bunny or anything, but he did what he had to do. He took the big bump from Logan Paul off the top rope, the big frog splash with the goggles, and yeah, he took another one later on. He also took another Claymore. So yeah, he took a few share of bumps during this match, and he looked decent for what I expected.
Yeah, I think this match did what it was going to do, and that was have one big moment for Logan Paul, and then Jelly Roll was going to have some type of, big moment throughout the match, and that was him getting taken out and having to fight back and have that fighting spirit in him that he learned since training in WWE to try to come out and get the win, but ultimately coming up short to ultimately lose to Drew and Logan. But yeah, this match is what it is. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It feels kind of pointless for Drew and Randy, who I do think are world champions, should be in championship talk, especially Drew. But hopefully now this is done, we do see Drew in a bigger spotlight, potentially going for a world champion.
Yeah, very excited to see what they all do moving forward. Maybe one day we'll get that one-on-one with Logan Paul and Jelly Roll, because he did get the pin over Jelly Roll during the match, so I could kind of see that happen in sometime in the future, potentially, if he does stick around. But one of the matches that we don't have to talk too much about was Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. Came out right at about 8 minutes, had a kind of weird stipulation where if Zayn won, he had to admit that he was right, that Kross was right, and the vice versa for Sami. So yeah, just a kind of weird stipulation. The match wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't one to remember, not one I'll rewatch. And this whole Sami Kross saga has kind of come to an end, it feels like, and it doesn't seem like it really paid off for either one of them.
Yeah, the Sami and Kross stuff, I think it's a very mixed opinion. You have people who really like Karrion Kross and think that he can be, top guy in WWE. However, I don't, like you said, I don't think it's achieved too much, especially for Sami Zayn. I think he kind of walks out just the same as when he walked into this feud. Whereas Karrion Kross, you can definitely make the argument that he is walking out on a higher stool now. But yeah, this match wasn't anything crazy. But I am glad Sami does ultimately win this feud, and hopefully, again, similar to Drew, he goes on to bigger things now as well.
A match that did get crazy is going to be the beginning of night 1 of SummerSlam. That was Roman Reigns and Jey Uso defeating Braun Breaker and the Tribal Thief Bronson Reed. Yeah, this was a really fun match coming out the gate with Jey Uso looking pretty good. This was probably one of his better matches in recent memory, where he did look fairly good, and he was pretty much getting beat up a lot of the first half of this match with Braun Breaker till you get that big hot tag to Roman Reigns. They were also fighting together like a tornado tag style match basically for a lot of this, and the ref was just sort of allowing it, but that made it a lot more fun as well. But yeah, they do come out on top, and I guess we'll see what's next with this Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and all these other people involved with this big storyline going on.
Yeah, this match was pretty fun. I'm glad this did start off the show. I didn't want this to main event because I wanted that Punk and Gunther match because of that chance of the Seth Rollins return. I think it's made perfect sense for that to main event and this to open the show. But yeah, this was a very fun match. All 4 guys, had their time to shine throughout this match, and I think it did help everybody. Roman, I don't know what he'll go after now, whether he'll stay with Jey Uso or will he go after Seth Rollins, who now holds the World Heavyweight Champion. So yeah, there's a lot you can do from this, but I would say that now that Jey Uso seems to maybe be breaking away from Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, hopefully we do still see him in tag team action, hopefully with his brother Jimmy.
Yeah, and all of their night of having a lot of matches with not a lot of title changes, one title change that did happen was our women's tag team titles. Where we see Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss take down the Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, where probably the biggest talking point is going to be at a moment where Alexa Bliss slaps Charlotte Flair and kind of takes her down for a while, and there's obviously a big accident and everything, and then later on in the match, Charlotte Flair is kind of seen behind Alexa Bliss as she's about to do her finisher to Roxanne Perez, and it looks like she might be about to attack Alexa Bliss. However, she goes past her, hits Raquel Rodriguez, and that is the finish of the match. But yeah, really good match here. I really like the work with all 4 of these women. Raquel Rodriguez has been doing some of her greatest work that she's done recently, and I'm really enjoying her, and as well as the other 3 women as well. They're all amazing, and this match is just testament of that and how good the tag team's women's division can be if you build it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think this match was definitely another fun one. I'm glad that Charlotte and Alexa do come out with the belts now. I think there's a good story you can tell with an eventually returning Liv Morgan, and obviously we have other Judgment Day member Dominic Mysterio who will fight on night 2, so that can also play into what can happen on Raws and SmackDown. So yeah, this was a very fun match. I think the titles were good on Raquel and Roxanne, but now that's on Charlotte and Alexa. Maybe we see them kind of go to NXT a little bit, where we have a few more tag teams. But yeah, hopefully we get just some more life in the women's tag team division. I think this is a good way to start that off.
Yeah, and maybe one of the most surprising results that we've seen on night 1 is Tiffany Stratton defeating Jade Cargill. Definitely not something that was on my board or on my predictions. I kind of had a feeling that maybe Tiffany would win once Naomi cashed in. I kind of told that to you before. I don't know if I said that on video, but I kind of had a feeling, but I was still definitely leaning more towards Jade Cargill.
Yeah, this one is definitely a little bit surprising because it felt like that after Jade or Naomi had got rid of her Money in the Bank, this felt like Jade was just going to win, and then we kind of get a Jade Cargill run as world champion. However, Tiffany does come out on top. A bit surprising because it did feel like the end of her reign was getting nearer and nearer, but now it seems like she will retain. And there's not really too many more people for her to go against on the SmackDown brand, so maybe we see a draft get announced hopefully soon, or we get somebody to get moved to SmackDown to give her some more opponents besides a Bianca Belair, who we're kind of waiting to see when she officially returns back to in-ring action.
Yeah, for sure. I think this was a pretty fun match. The only thing I didn't necessarily really like is that Jade Cargill kind of went through the ringer, kind of going through all these people, defeating all these people, beat Asuka and all these other people, and it kind of felt like it was for nothing now because she didn't come out on top. But obviously, every time someone gets these big wins and gets that big opportunity, you can't have all of them come out on top all the time. But moving on to night 2 of SummerSlam, we're gonna kick things off with our women's Intercontinental Championship. One of my favorite matches on the night, Becky Lynch defeating Lyra Valkyria in a no disqualification match for that title, and now Lyra Valkyria can no longer challenge for it as long as Becky's the champion.
Yeah, this was another very fun match. I am glad that Becky Lynch does retain, because I think there is more for her to do with this IC champion, and there's more for Lyra to do. So maybe start messing with some of the main eventers. After we have that World Championship match, and then the Triple Threat later that we'll talk about. So maybe she can get maybe a loser to maybe get an opportunity. But yeah, I'm glad that Becky Lynch retains. I think ever since she has returned, she's been great. The new presentation she has with the new theme and the new jumbotron and stuff was very cool. I liked it. So yeah, I'm glad that Becky Lynch is retaining, and we also seen Bayley get involved as well, so it seems like those two aren't done either.
Yeah, there was a sort of weird moment where Bayley did come out to kind of protect Lyra. She takes a crowbar from Becky as she was about to hit Lyra with it, and there was a moment where Becky's telling her, hit her, finish it. If it wasn't for her, you would be in this match, and it'd be you in this position. And it looks like Bayley might do it, but she doesn't end up doing it. And yeah, it was kind of weird, because it's like she came in to save her, and then she thought about hurting her, and then later on tried to save her once again after Becky had obviously won the match. Bayley went to go hit Becky, she dodges it, hits Lyra, and that's pretty much the end of that match. But yeah, a really good match. I like the way this ended. I felt like it was brutal enough for it to justify the ending of it. However, it might not be the ending of it, considering that Bayley was attached to it once again. But they did get 25 minutes, an amazing amount of time for the women to go. And yeah, this was a very fun one, and possibly the end of the feud.
Yeah, but next up we had the Women's World Championship match, and that is Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky, where Naomi comes out on top and retains her Women's World Champion.
Yeah, this was an amazing match. This was absolutely great. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, they at first, when they did those first matches on Raw, it seemed like maybe they didn't have a whole lot of chemistry together, and you know, it wasn't an amazing match. However, the past 3, maybe 4 matches that they've had all have been amazing and all have been great, and they definitely built that chemistry with each other. We see once again after that defeat, Rhea Ripley carrying Io Sky backstage past the set as well. But yeah, this was a fun match. I definitely enjoyed it. I kind of wish this one was the co-main event. I feel like the kind of timing of this card, like the way they produced it, was a little bit weird. But yeah, this was an amazing match.
Yeah, Naomi retaining definitely feels like the right decision here. I'm glad that Rhea Ripley and Io still have that frenemies type of relationship where they love each other, but when they get in the ring, obviously everything's on the table. So yeah, I'm glad that Naomi gets to go against Stephanie Barker at Clash in Paris now, so that should be a pretty fun match to get some more matches under Naomi's championship reign, because someone tells me that she won't hold this belt for too long, but I think she can still have a very good reign in just a short amount of time that she might have it.
Yeah, for sure. But moving on to a match that wasn't really the greatest, we're going to go to Solo Sikoa defeating Jacob Fatu. Another big surprise for me. But yeah, he does retain by escaping the cage. One thing I will say first, talking about steel cage matches, is I'm starting to get tired of getting pulled out of the doors and just coming out of the door in general. I'm kind of on Jesse Ventura's side at this point. I really wish someone would just go over the cage and get the win that way, or just let them fight in the cage but be pinnable. Let them get pinned in the ring. But yeah, I am getting a little bit tired of that. However, you know, this seemed like almost like a worse version of the CM Punk Seth Rollins match that we seen earlier this year on the Netflix debut. The biggest part of this match, the best part of this match, is what happened after the match, where Jacob Fatu does a big moonsault onto Tongaloa and Talatonga. Yeah, so many Tongas involved. But yeah, that was probably the coolest part. It wasn't even during the match, it was after. Yeah, not much to really speak positively about this one.
Yeah, I said in the prediction video, I kind of hope that this is the end. Considering Jacob didn't win the championship back here, definitely doesn't seem like it's probably the official end, and potentially I could see this even being what our War Games match will be looking like in November, is another Bloodline style match. We've seen Jimmy Uso come out and try to help Jacob, but ultimately didn't help him too much because he did still lose. But yeah, this is an interesting decision to have Solo retain, but again, I just hope that this is kind of at least a split from each other for at least quite a while.
Yeah, and then another match that kind of underperformed that we'll talk about briefly is Dominic Mysterio defeating AJ Styles after a Eddie Guerrero-ish finish to the match.
Yeah, I love AJ Styles' gear tonight. He came out in Eddie Guerrero themed gear. But yeah, they kind of, like you mentioned, at the end of the match, AJ has Dom in a calf crusher, but Dom kind of loosens up his boot beforehand, and AJ ends up pulling it off, which Dom would end up getting the boot to hit AJ to win the match. But yeah, this match Definitely didn't deliver like how I thought I would want to have to, but yeah, it is decently okay, I guess, considering Dom can still hold the champion. He hasn't done too much with the belt, so maybe we move on to somebody else, but it does suck for AJ because it did feel like his moment to win the IC champion.
Yeah, definitely after, the way he lost, the way the match went, and just, the reactions that he kind of got because the crowd was just chanting for Dom the whole time. This kind of does look like after his, his final SummerSlam comments he made that he is maybe out of the door of WWE and leading more towards that AEW direction. I guess we'll find out in the somewhat near future, but that will be something to look forward to and look into moving forward. But yeah, decent match, but not much to talk about. But a big match that we have, a lot to talk about is this big six-pack TLC match where we see the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys sort of introduce the match, be there in the crowd and everything. So really cool moment there just to see the Hardys involved is always pretty fun in the WWE. But we do see the Wyatt Six retain their title somehow. Definitely, again, another big shocker win here against the DIY, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Gun, Street Profits. And yeah, just a very surprising win here.
Yeah, Andrade or the Wyatts winning this match definitely took me by surprise. Definitely felt like this was the time for them to lose, so they didn't have to actually get pinned to lose the belts. But yeah, this match overall though was still amazing. One of my favorite matches. I love the big car crash style matches, and they did this perfectly. A lot of huge moments. We had seen a Spanish fly off the top rope to the outside through a table between Axiom and Angelo Dawkins. We've seen Candice LeRae come out and she gets thrown through a ladder off another ladder. So yeah, this match was absolutely insane. I love that. They had a lot of homages to the original TLC match, and yeah, they definitely played their part correctly here. And yeah, although the winner wasn't who I wanted to win, still won't take away from a very fun match.
Yeah, I think the Y6 got a pretty good win here. Hopefully this does lead towards the end of their title run. It kind of sucks that they did get the win here, but, they probably want to give them a moment, give them a big pay-per-view win. I could get by that. I'm fine with it at the end of the day. But I do am looking forward to them losing their titles to one of these teams because Fraxium put on an absolute show tonight. They were absolutely amazing. We've seen Axiom do his Spanish fly off the top rope, but not to the inside of the ring, to the outside of the ring, through a table with Angelo Dawkins. Pretty cool moment there. As you mentioned, Candice LeRae flying from the ring to the outside through a ladder. Just a crazy spot, unexpected. Didn't think that would happen during the match. And yeah, they fit a whole lot of spots into this 16-minute match. So yeah, I really like the way they do this. These big mixed mashup tag team matches, they seem to be able to book them really well. So hopefully they could divide the teams a little bit more and send a little bit of that love to Raw.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments of this match as well is when Tommaso Ciampa, he's dangling on the championship but has no ladder under him, and then Nathan Frazier tries to do like a spear, I guess, to him while he's holding up, but Tommaso Ciampa has the muscle to actually pull himself all the way up and hang upside down to make Frazier miss within. He would end up doing a springboard into a super kick by Johnny, which was really cool. Kind of shout out to the NXT days from Johnny. But yeah, this was a very fun match. Besides the winners, obviously. But yeah, SmackDown Tag Division definitely looks amazing. Hopefully, it does kind of get evened out with the Raw side of things, because Raw definitely needs it. But a part of me almost wouldn't mind kind of having this stacked division on SmackDown.
Yeah, for sure. But moving on to the final SummerSlam match here, that is going to be Cody Rhodes defeating John Cena.
Yeah, this match is definitely a crazy one. This is one of the longest John Cena matches and probably almost 15 years, probably for him, almost 40 minutes. And John Cena absolutely came out with his A game here. Played definitely a lot more of a babyface role. It seems like they almost completely dropped the heel stuff with almost no explanation, which is kind of interesting. But maybe the end of the match would kind of tell that story with the Patricia Rock return. But yeah, this match was one of my favorite Cena matches, not only of this year, but probably of all time. I think this is definitely going to be a match that is like, damn, John Cena kind of gave it his all in this last big match on the biggest show of this second half of the year.
Yeah, you could definitely tell John Cena was gassed during the second part of this match and the second phase of this match. But yeah, this was a brutal match, way more hard-hitting and weapons involved, and John Cena took more bumps, and just everything happened more than what I thought it would happen. Cody Rhodes obviously looks amazing. He always does in all of his matches. Kind of a weird entrance for Cody Rhodes because John Cena got a huge pop, of course, because he comes out to his normal theme for the first time, and so that was really cool for the crowd to enjoy that and for everyone at home to enjoy that. However, when Cody Rhodes came out, it wasn't boos necessarily, but it wasn't necessarily cheers. It was kind of like an in-between crowd for Cody Rhodes tonight. So that was a little bit weird, and that kind of played more into the ending as well. Whenever Cody Rhodes does get the win, it wasn't necessarily this big loud eruption of cheers or anything. So definitely a little bit interesting to see the crowd turn on Cody a little bit during this match, but obviously it is John Cena's kind of final run here, so it makes sense a little bit.
Yeah, we see at the end Cody Rhodes kind of give a salute before he puts away John Cena. Another moment I liked is they went to the outside for a little while, then they went under the entrance ramp, and then John Cena, as they have the elevator that Cody used for his entrance, he has him on his shoulder in AA position, and then just throws him on top of the entrance ramp, which is a really cool moment. But yeah, Cody Rhodes is your new undisputed WWE champion, and is now a 2-time undisputed champion. So yeah, obviously Cody with the belt. Unfortunately, or maybe surprisingly to a lot of people, we don't see a double turn here. Cody Rhodes does shake the hand of John Cena. They have their moment. They hug it out. They talk for a little while. Cody got very emotional. But yeah, then he just walks out of the ring and he kind of lets Cena have his big moment at his last SummerSlam of his career, which John Cena kind of dominated SummerSlams for quite a few years. And yeah, so Cody Rhodes wins the champion. See Cena in the ring as the show goes off. But then the Beast returns. Brock Lesnar, music hits, and he is back in WWE now. In a very surprising thing, Sean Ross Sapp himself has said this was something that was never on the radar of almost anybody, of any journalists, news reporters, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, it was completely surprising that Brock Lesnar shows up here and then ultimately attacks John Cena to presumably set up a future match between the two.
Yeah, I think it was a really good little entrance here. I feel like it's one of those cool things because Brock Lesnar was someone who dominated for a very long time, and there was recently in the night previous kind of a callback to a John Cena and Brock Lesnar match where the blood was too much for Brock Lesnar to handle, and that's how John Cena got the win. So there's kind of a reference to him during that match if anyone picked up on that. But yeah, that was just a really surprising thing. WWE found a way to give us that big shocking ending just as they did at Evolution with the big cash-in, just as they did on night one with that big cash-in. And yeah, that's a pretty cool thing. There's a few matches I would like to see from Brock Lesnar, so that does kind of open the door for some of those matches to happen now. And yeah, it's not something that I'm like necessarily jumping up and down for, but I am excited to see a few matches from Brock Lesnar here and there.
Yeah, with Brock Lesnar back in the mix of being one of those big attraction type of superstars that I'm sure WWE makes a lot of money off of. It's going to be very interesting again, because obviously there is the people like a John Cena you're going to see again. I can only presume if he's going to be back for quite a while. Eventually we're going to get that CM Punk match potentially. But also a match I guess a lot of people are going to want is that eventual Gunther versus Brock Lesnar, the Beast versus the Ring General. So I guess there is a few matches we can see from Brock Lesnar. I guess it just depends on how long he's going to stay around for. I could see this being almost a retire match for the two. Maybe Brock wants to retire Cena a little bit early before the end of the year. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see Brock Lesnar. I'm sure we'll see him either on SmackDown or Raw this week. Because yeah, there's definitely a lot to talk about. Because ultimately we didn't see what we thought we were going to get, and that was The Rock. We've seen no Rock here. I definitely thought when Brock was going to return, we're going to see The Rock kind of come out right behind him and be like, "Oh, you don't want to be with me anymore? I know somebody who will sell his soul to me, who will be my demon," and that is Brock Lesnar. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what plays out for the rest of this John Cena 2025 run.
Yeah, as him, he seemingly turned face. That's maybe not official yet, but I mean, with the entrance and with the way he celebrated on the way out, and he ran to the ring for the first time. The belt was wore properly. He didn't put the rag to the back. He did it to the front. So seemingly he's back to babyface. So now we can get to normal John Cena booking, get some really cool stuff, because this match was the start of something really, really cool, hopefully, because this was an amazing match for John Cena. I didn't think he had this type of match in him, this quality of match in him, and he definitely proved me wrong, because this is maybe, as you mentioned, maybe my favorite John Cena match of all time.
Yeah, but with our 2-night SummerSlam officially over, what was your favorite match of the weekend?
Yeah, definitely a very hard choice to make here for sure, but honestly, one of my favorite matches, might surprise you, is going to be Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss winning those women's tag team titles. That was just a big surprise win. Obviously, I could go with CM Punk and Gunther. That's another easy one. Probably is really my favorite actual match. However, I really did enjoy that women's tag team match and a lot of the things that could fall out from that leading into Raw these coming weeks.
Yeah. But that would do it for our WWE SummerSlam 2025 results and review. Let us know down in the comments what you guys thought about the show, what you guys thought about Brock Lesnar returning. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about that. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll be making some videos around everything that's happening around SummerSlam in the upcoming days. But, yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you made this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on the video. And, yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.